to the Between the Pages podcast. Today we're going to be talking about why stories matter for a child's soul. God could have given us a bullet point manual to follow, but instead he gave us a story-filled Bible, and that matters.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah, I guess it all depends on your perspective. I'm Jimmy, this is Sarah, this is our podcast. Thank you for joining us today. This is a good topic, a good audience question, I guess.
These ones are from me.
Oh, okay, this one came from you? Okay.
Yeah, I wrote these ones out.
Okay,
We might do a Q&A here soon.
Okay.
Maybe in February we'll do one.
Well, it's still a good question. It's one worth thinking about. I guess some people just, the Bible is, like I say, a bunch of stories, and, that's what it's about to them. And then there's others that the Bible's a little bit more meaningful, and, it has different layers of meaning. And like we've been working on the snowflake, and we're going to revisit the gematria again, the numbers and what's associated with each, biblical number. Numbers in the Bible have meaning, and all the words in the Bible are Hebrew letters, essentially, and those Hebrew letters.
I was doing that for a while. I probably should do that again. Remember my Saturday studies?
Yeah.
And I was bringing in the Hebrew words for those words that are in English, and how it's like, wow, it has such a deeper meaning when you actually look at what it was.
Like the word Christ. I mean,
before
that's
it translated.
888 is the word Christ in gematria. I mean, which is the number 8 is beyond perfection, which is 7. So 8 is like completion or whatever. It's perfected perfection. It's a good number. So
if perfect could get perfecter, that would be it.
Well, I mean, everybody seems to be focused on 666, which is really a non thing.
Well,
I'd be focused on 888 if it were.
I've seen 777 not as like a good thing.
Yeah.
And people are like obsessed with it, and I'm like.
Well, I mean, that's how you win at the slot machines.
I didn't even think about that.
But yeah, I mean, those are not. I mean, I guess. Anyway, yeah. So the Bible has a lot of different levels of meaning that are there, and unfortunately, someone like me, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, I'm a checklist kind of guy. So I go down through and I've basically turned, each section into a checklist. Check this, check that. What does this mean? What does that mean? And dive in. So I'm always seeking more information or enlightenment so I can try to attempt to understand. And the Bible I read today is different than the Bible I read, 50 years ago. I mean, it's the same Bible.
That's so wild, because I'm like, 50 years ago, you didn't read a Bible 50 years.
Oh,
you're like, oh wait, you're that, not that you're that old, but like, I'm not even old enough to say I read something 50 years ago. That's so wild.
Yeah. And it depends on how you look at it, because in the Hebrew world of teaching and whatnot, everybody knows the word before they're born.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's explained to them, and I think that helps explain your conscience. When you're born and everything, you come out and there's something there's something missing, and a lot of people spend their entire lives searching for that missing thing, whereas in reality it's right there. And this is why it's so important to spread the gospel, to make people aware of this letter that God has written, and that He loves you. And so. That's basically the whole gist behind Fig and Zig, is there's all these natural laws and whatnot, but there's spiritual laws too.
I'm so excited for Fig and Zig.
Yeah.
I like all the books, and I say that every time, but I'm really excited for that one to get here.
Well, it's close too, like I say. And so, but okay, so the thing is okay, from a child perspective, I mean, stories. When I was reading stories growing up, and I don't know, maybe I'm just different. I have this imagination.
Yeah.
And so, like we've talked about previously, I would imagine, here's this guy, Treasure Island guy, or here's this, Peter
Well,
Pan
that's why
person.
reading's so important too, because it has you use your imagination. You're reading the words, and imagining
Right.
it and picturing it and building your imagination. Whereas
Right.
when you're just watching something, it's already done for you, basically.
Yeah, and it's someone else's imagination that you're watching, and so it doesn't always necessarily align with my imagination, which is sometimes a little more colorful, I guess. So, but yeah, and so the thing is you want a child to be able to experience that early, the imagination thing, and I mean, souls are in balance.
Yeah.
I mean, because depending on what you expose your child to early on is pretty much going to determine, the foundation, if you will, of their future course or their future path.
Yeah.
And doesn't mean that they can't change or whatever, but oftentimes, many times, it's going to take some effort. It's going to take some pain. It's going to take some suffering. That kind of thing to get back on the right course, whereas it's better to be on that course and not stray from it to begin with. So.
I'm not yawning because of you. Staying up late last night quilting.
Quilting, and you passed your course.
Yeah.
You made 100 on your final exam. Congratulations. So that's good. So, yeah, I guess, as a parent, well, then it comes down to, okay, well, what kind of stories would my child like?
Yeah.
And
that was the thing that in the Bible, Jesus didn't teach through lectures. He didn't get up there and go, okay, everybody get out your pen. Yep. He taught through stories.
Right.
And it makes it more like meaningful and relatable, and it sticks with the person. And so for kids too, they remember with the pictures and the characters and what they did and what happened with that, than just reading off a bunch of words.
Right.
And that's what we talked about a few podcasts ago, was the rhyming and stuff. And even that is so, when you were talking, it was like, oh yeah, with Eleanor, even just the noise. I can just like hum a little tune and she'll be like, oh, I like that song. And she'll start singing the words.
Yeah.
And so it's like she not only remembers the words and the rhyme and the tune, she can listen to one piece and then put it all together.
Yeah, she's special like that.
Kids are, too. Because Lillian started doing it, too. And so it's like, if you gotta get them while they're young.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, in the industry we're in, we have to write technical manuals and technical publications, and we have to write all that stuff on the 6th grade level. Because that's basically the level you're dealing with. So, in general, and so the thing is we try to write books that are kind of simple, and you don't want to get too complex.
It's so funny because I was talking to one of my uncles, and then I told Mama, I was like, he explains stuff like so well. And I was like, I've never really, some adult men, they don't. And it's like, what are you even trying to say?
It's probably a man
thing. I was like, he explains stuff so well. And she's like, well, in his line of work, he was trained, you have to teach things on like a 6th grade level.
That's right.
I was like, I don't know what that says about me. But he was really descriptive in explaining, not just, here's the word, lecturing, basically.
Well, as you get older, though, your intellectual capability will improve. Okay? I mean, because everybody, you come out, you're eating baby food and you're drinking a bottle, right? And so you learn how to eat off a plate and sit at the table and have manners and use silverware and forks and knives and things the way they're intended to be used.
Yeah, the way they're intended to be used.
Yeah, and so the thing is that is something that you develop.
Yeah.
And so your mental capacities develop also. And so when you're young, it's milk, and kind of thing. And as you get a little older, you move up to bread, which is, the bread of life, the word. But then you're going to want to get in that lecture level, as a grown adult, you want to be well versed. And so the thing is, to get there, you have to start young, and you have to develop the habit of reading some aspect of your Bible pretty much daily. a Dusty Bible song. We mentioned that before. You know, people just don't pick it up from one Sunday to the next if they pick it up on Sunday. And the thing is we calculated one time. I mean, in Alabama, for better or worse, I think it's about 2,000 hours of education from September to May that you get in first grade. And so...
Oh, yeah, we talked about this before.
Yeah, so if you go to church every Sunday and you get 2 hours of instruction, and that's all you do is what you do on Sunday, well, that's 100 hours a year.
Yeah.
You know, because a couple of times a year you probably don't go. So we'll just say 50 weeks, 2 hours, 100 hours. Well, in that particular case, it's going to take you 10 years is 1,000 hours. 20 years is 2,000 hours. And so if you've been in church, and that's all you do is go to church on Sunday.
Yeah.
You're
only at like a first grade level.
You'll be at the first grade level after 20 years in church. So you've got to augment what you're doing.
Which is what we said, I think in the last podcast, is that reading your Bible 4 times a week is really when you start like seeing and it impacting you, because you're getting at least 4 times a week, 4 separate days. Not I read it at 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. Oh, I'm good for the week.
Well, yeah, and you want to set aside quality time too. You don't want it to be, I got to do this today, and I'm just tuckered out. I'm so wore out. And you open up your Bible, you read 3 verses, and the next thing you know, you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I fell asleep, or something, And it's like, you don't want to do that. You want to have quality time. You want to have good time. But like I said, you need to instill that type of behavior young. You want your child to read this book or, our books or some books similar to our books at least 4 times a week. I mean, 3, minimum 3, 4 times would be good. And, have that experience. And so when they get older, then they want to move up to real bread, and actual read the Bible.
They already have the first grade level through.
Right, and they already have that first grade established, and they already have a habit.
Yeah.
That they will continue to do. And so, but as parents, that's just our job. That's your job as a parent to do that, to instill that type of behavior and to teach that. The same as you teach them how to, eat food or sit at the table and have manners. Yeah. You spend a lot of time instructing that. Well, unfortunately, what I see most often is, kids just sit in front of a television, or something, and that's not the most positive thing. I mean, not that some of that entertainment is a good thing, and some entertainment is good, but if that's all you do, it's like, that's a bad habit to have, kind of thing. So, but yeah, souls are in the balance. The stories are good. They're biblical stories.
A good story can plant a seed that blooms years later.
Yeah.
That was you already basically said that, but that was my little key topic.
Well, and then that's true. And so, and then the type of seed you're planting, and if your kid's into the macabre or horror or witchcraft or something, those are not good seeds. Those are not good seeds to plant in your kid's fertile mind, because that stuff will be there and it will sprout when you least want it to.
Yeah.
So those are not.
This week we encourage you to, as parents, to see story time as soul work, not extra or duty work. That I gotta do this.
Well,
story time's like super important and impactful to your kids.
You as a parent, you're entrusted with these souls.
Yeah.
And they're not always going to be in your care.
Yeah.
Sooner or later they will be on their own, and the job or the effort that you put in now.
It's a little too late later.
Well, yeah.
To start switching stuff around.
Well, I mean, you can do it, but, how effective is it going to be? I mean, at some point, I know basically, you just stop listening to your mom and dad and you start listening to other people. And so at some point that's going to happen for you. It happens for everybody. It's going to happen to all y'all. I mean, someone was saying something, their mom had said something to them and it hurt her feelings, and I'm like, well, the love that a child has for a parent is one thing, you know, but the love that the parent has for the child is totally different. Yeah, even after they move out, you never stop worrying about them or thinking about them or hoping the best for them. Whereas as a child, I mean, you move out and you're just glad to no longer be under mom and dad's influence, you know, or whatever. But then you have your own children, and suddenly you becomes aware that, oh, they weren't saying this to hurt me or to hurt my feelings. They love me.
Yeah.
They care about me. And the one thing I have found is that if no one says anything to you about what you're doing or whatever, well, they don't really care about you.
Yeah.
They're just like, you know, you're just someone, you know, they know.
Yeah.
You're an acquaintance, you know, you're a passing, you know, encounter. They don't really care. But the people who love you are going to say something to you. And then the only time you're really ever going to get your feelings hurt about something someone says or something that someone does is if you care about that person.
Yeah.
And so those are
that's true.
Those are your clues, man. You know, the people that hurt your feelings are the ones you care about. Otherwise, if you don't know them, you don't care. There's somebody said something like, you know, get out of the way, I'm cutting in line. You know, well, it hurts you a little bit, but you get over it and you don't dwell on it. But you know, things mom or dad could say, you know, they last a lifetime or something, you know, or whatever, and they're just, you know, they shouldn't, you know, because they care about you. Your mom cares about you. Your dad cares about you. And your children...
For the most part. Some kids don't have that experience.
That's true, they don't.
But for the most part...
And so what you have is a good example of a bad example.
Yeah.
And so when you grow up, you shouldn't behave that way.
Yeah.
You say, okay, well, you know, my father or my mother or whatever, they weren't this or they weren't that, and I needed that or whatever. And you know, there could be circumstances that are beyond their control or beyond anyone's control. It maybe couldn't have been preventable. But then there is the case where it's they didn't care and whatnot. And the thing is well, you just use that example as, well, I don't want to be that person. And not use it as an excuse to, oh, well, I behave this way because this is the way my parents behaved to me. You know, I mean, that is an excuse and it's rational, but it's sooner or later, you got to pack your own, you know, gear. You know, you got to load up your tent and carry it out, and you need to get out and police the area and clean up. You know, it's your job to take care of your family and your children. So, you know. It's another one of them deep subjects, you know. It's complicated subject. The books approach some of these things in a lighthearted way.
And that, I think that was supposed to be the point, you know, teaching through stories, not lectures. But the stories do that. Some of them are a little bit more deep. Jemima Jope's a little deep. Rosie's a little deep. But... yeah. Overall, they're kind of lighthearted, simple enough. You could go deeper into it, but they're all pretty simple enough that you can get the point across.
Well, the whole purpose of the book to begin with is, you know, just teach them phonics and rhyming words and pictures. You know, so from that aspect, you know, it's pretty easy to do. Yeah. But, you know, like the snowflake, you know, it's branching into the gematria again with that one. And, you know, it's a good story about, you know, rebellion and repentance and redemption, but at the same time, it has a deeper meaning that, you know, children aren't going to understand until they're older. Oh, yeah. You know, there's a lot of adults that are probably like, you know, wow, you know, kind of go, oh, I don't know if I can handle this or not. So, but. You know, when you're writing a story, you got to consider the audience, and in general, keep it simple. And so most of the books are simple themes, simple words, whatnot. And then as child gets older,
they get a little bit more.
They see a little bit deeper meaning, and they gravitate toward that, and then they look at the book afresh or anew. And so, kind of like what we do with our Bibles, you know.
Oh yeah.
You can read the same devotional, if you will, the same scripture
in life,
and 10 years apart, and have totally different meanings. You know, so. Alrighty,
that is all the time we have for you today on the Between the Pages podcast. like, subscribe, and follow for more.
Yep. And Happy New Year for all y'all New Year people.